Okay, everyone, buckle up, because this deep dive is gonna be big, like out of this world big.
It's got everyone talking, that's for sure.
We're talking aliens, folks. Aliens. Well, maybe. We're diving into some articles all about this. Professor Simon Holland, he's claiming some pretty wild stuff. Says he's got the inside scoop on some concrete evidence of extraterrestrial life.
He does seem to be making some bold statements.
He does, right. Like, he's talking about an actual signal, BLC-1, supposedly picked up by the Parkes telescope in Australia. Says researchers from the Breakthrough Listen project are freaking out about it.
Well, we certainly know Professor Holland has worked with NASA before on different projects, so it's not like this is coming from just anyone.
No, exactly. So it's got to make you wonder, right?
He does.
So let's talk about this Breakthrough Listen project for a minute. What is this? Like some kind of real-life X-Files situation?
It kind of is. Kind of. It's a real scientific project, though. They're using telescopes all around the world to search for signs of technology that isn't from, around here.
So they're literally listening for signs of alien civilizations.
They are.
Wow. That's, I don't know, amazing. Kind of scary.
The universe is a big place, full of amazing things. Who knows what's out there, right?
True, true. And the Parkes telescope you mentioned, that's in Australia, right?
Right, it's one of the big ones. Very important for the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. We call that SETI for short.
SETI. Okay, I've heard of that. Isn't that what Jodie Foster was doing in that movie Contact?
That's the one.
Okay, so this telescope is legit. It's always out there searching for something.
Yeah, they use it for a lot of different projects.
So this signal, BLC-1, what makes it so special? Why does Professor Holland think it's aliens?
Well, he's saying it's what's called a narrowband signal.
Okay, and what's that?
It's like a radio station broadcasting on a very specific frequency. These signals, they're really rare to find in nature. The odds of it happening naturally are very slim.
So if it's not natural,
it could be artificial.
Artificial, like
created by something or someone.
Wow. Okay, so this is where things get interesting. Now, Professor Holland, he also claims that there's an official announcement about the signal coming soon, like maybe even within weeks.
That's what he's implying.
Why so fast? Why not take their time? Make absolutely sure.
Well, from what he's hinting, it sounds like it might be a race against other astronomers. He mentions researchers in China using the FAST telescope.
FAST telescope.
It stands for 500-meter aperture spherical telescope. It's the world's largest filled aperture radio telescope.
Wow, that's a mouthful. Okay, so what, these Chinese scientists, they're looking at this signal too?
It seems like Professor Holland thinks they are, and that they might be getting ready to publish their own findings.
So it's like a scientific showdown. Who can be the first to say, we're not alone?
Something like that. Although, we should probably approach all this with, a healthy dose of skepticism.
Yeah, I hear you. As much as I love a good mystery. Gotta be realistic. So, before we get ahead of ourselves, what would it take to confirm this? To go from interesting rumor to confirmed aliens?
Well, for starters, this signal, it needs to be independently verified. Other scientists, they need to see the data from the Parkes telescope, try to replicate the analysis Professor Holland's talking about, see if they come to the same conclusion.
No more relying on whispers from insiders.
Pretty much.
Okay, makes sense. Keep it scientific. But what else? I mean, even if other scientists see this signal, how can they be sure it's not just, some kind of weird space thing? How can you rule out every other possibility?
Good question, and it's a big one.
It's a big universe out there. How can you be sure?
It's not easy, that's for sure. But that's what scientists do, right? They investigate, they test, they try to prove or disprove. So in this case, let's say other scientists, they do confirm the signal, it's real, it's not a mistake, it's not interference. Then the real work begins.
Which is?
Ruling out any possible natural explanations.
You mean even if it's not an error, it still might not be aliens?
It could be something else, something we don't even know about yet. The universe is full of surprises. Who knows what's out there, right? So they have to look at everything.
Like what? Give me an example.
Pulsars, quasars, gravitational waves, all sorts of things that could, theoretically, I guess, create a signal that looks like, what they're seeing with BLC-1.
So how do they know for sure it's not one of those things?
Well, that's where having multiple telescopes comes in. Like, if this FAST telescope in China, if they pick up the signal too, independently, well, that tells us a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like having two witnesses instead of one.
Right.
Yeah, more reliable.
Exactly. It helps to confirm where the signal is coming from. It's less likely to be something, local, something from Earth, or even our solar system.
Wow, this is incredible. I mean, just the fact that we have the technology to do this, to detect these faint signals from who knows how far away, it kind of blows my mind.
It is pretty amazing when you think about it. Even if this BLC-1 thing turns out to be nothing, just the fact that we've come this far, it's remarkable.
It really is. Okay, so what now? We just wait. We wait for the scientists to figure it out. What can we do in the meantime?
I guess we wait and see. It's a good time to, think about what it all means. What if it is aliens? What would that mean for us?
Yeah.
For humanity?
I don't know. It's a lot to process. Do we try to talk to them? Do they even want to talk to us?
Who knows? Big questions.
I know, right?
But that's what makes it so exciting, right?
You know, right? It's huge. Like, are we alone in the universe? That's what it comes down to. It's a lot.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a question that people have been asking, gosh, probably since the dawn of humanity, right?
Right. And we might finally have an answer, or at least be getting close.
We might. And even if this particular signal isn't the answer, you know what I mean? Even if it turns out to be something else or nothing, the fact that we're even looking for it, that we have the ability to even have this conversation, that's incredible.
It is pretty amazing when you think about how far we've come, from thinking about, canals on Mars to looking for radio signals from across the galaxy.
It's a whole different way of looking at things.
It really is. It's like science fiction is becoming science fact. So, okay, as we wrap things up here, what's the one thing you want people to take away from all of this? If they only remember one thing from this deep dive, what should it be?
I think it's important to remember to, be excited, be interested in all of this, but also to be a little bit skeptical.
Like, don't jump to conclusions.
Exactly. Let's wait for the scientists to do their thing, let them analyze the data, do the research, and then we'll see what we've got.
Good advice. Good advice. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's see what the science says. And in the meantime, keep looking up at the stars.
And wondering.
Exactly. You never know what's out there. All right, everyone. That's all the time we have for today. Until next time, stay curious.